I grew up in an era of yellowface. I sometimes wondered if East and Southeast Asian men just didn't do acting. If I ever saw East and Southeast Asian women on TV, they played exotic temptresses, sexual trophies for the white male hero, or dragon ladies and stern matriarchs.
Yes! Audition tomorrow. Chinese takeaway girl, short-tempered, surly, rude Asian accent.
Wow. You were born to play that part.
If you saw an East or Southeast Asian male, we were there to be an object of fear and loathing, or an object of ridicule with exaggerated performance and physicality. We were the opposite of normalised.
Hi, sorry.
Yes, can I help you?
I was just wondering what you thought of my performance.
Oh, yeah, well, very good. Well done. I think you're going to have a wonderful career on Chef. When they remake Charlie Chan, you'll be well in.
I sometimes think that when we're asked to do Chinese accents or Japanese accents, they want us to imitate white actors doing yellowface.
I am Chinese actor.
I went to drama school.
I will now ask my eager volunteer kindly to step into the cabinet of death,
where I did Shakespeare and John Ford and George Bernard Shaw and Ibsen and Strindberg and Tennessee Williams. When I left, I did all right at first.
I think it said Oriental male actor, and I applied for it and was given the audition address and to meet the director, Greg Way. And I'd seen him in Butterfly, which again was an incredible experience. So I'd say meeting him at that point, that play, it kind of changed my life in a lot of ways.
Then I went to the Royal Shakespeare Company.
Casting these locals as Miranda and Ariel in The Tempest, but the bard is hardly part of their heritage, is it?
Oh, I think they're ever so good. Personally.
I thought then I could be considered for stuff on TV. I thought I could play heroes and villains and clowns and adventurers and wild-eyed dreamers and dull bureaucrats and romantic lovers and boring husbands and people who worked in offices and people who flew spaceships and people who saved the world and people who destroyed the world and cops and robbers and bullies and victims and happy and sad and everything in between with some sort of beginning, middle and end.
Where's the comedy? And she said, well, it's a Chinese family running a takeaway. And I knew immediately what she meant. You know what I'm talking about, Jasper? I mean, we're talking about racist granny.
Yes.
But also about egg foo young, number 20, all the kind of stereotypic tropes of a family running a Chinese takeaway, which are inherently funny if it was racist.
素晴らしい.
I felt, wow, I'm on the cusp, and then it's just sunk, and you're basically back to Mr. Chan in the instant noodles commercial, and it's just been a lot like that, basically.
So you were doing Mr. Chan and noodle commercials in between, for money kind of thing?
No, I never got those jobs, never.
You didn't get them?
No, I very rarely got them. No, I don't remember ever getting more than... I think they weeded me out quite quickly because I was half Chinese and you could really feel that. Literally, I'd walk into the room and you could feel them going, oh, and not being kind of their idea of what a Chinese person should be.
You're reading for the role of Mr. Chow, and I'd go through the script and try and find Mr. Chow, and Mr. Chow usually wasn't in it much, and he'd usually have very few lines, and those lines always seemed to be stilted and were never very interesting. Stay away from my sister. I am lost. Can you help me? You bring shame on our family, Malin. Or affecting a fairy tale voice to speak in fortune cookie language. To find a tree, you must enter a forest. And I'd usually get told, you're not Chinese enough, you're not Japanese enough, you're not Korean enough, you're not Vietnamese enough, you're not Indonesian enough, you're not foreign enough, basically.
Look, Danny, there are only two names anyone can call us chinks, and that's Jackie Chan or fucking Charlie Chan. Charlie Chan's fat with slanty eyes, and Jackie Chan's got muscles and knows kung fu. Now, which one would you rather fucking be called?
I'd rather fucking stay alive.
Sometimes they'd even look angry when I walked in the room and I wasn't Chinese enough, or Japanese enough, or Korean enough, or Vietnamese enough, or Indonesian enough, or foreign enough.
You know, when your agents said we got this Oriental guy, we thought
That could be really interesting. Right, Ben?
One time, they complained about me. Why wasn't he larger than life, and why didn't he have a Chinese accent? Did he not read the brief? Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon? And I wondered if they'd fast-forwarded the bits where everyone was just talking to each other in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Those bits where they weren't fighting or flying or gurning or goofing. The bits where they fell in love and fell in friendship and fell in enmity and fell in nuance and life and story. Sit up straight, you're playing a Chinaman. Your accent, it sounds too Notting Hill. Could you just say that line in Chinese? It doesn't matter if it's Cantonese or Mandarin, we won't know the difference anyway. Oh, just a general Chinese accent. Your character doesn't say much. And people might think this all happened years ago, but honestly, when I watch the likes of One Child and Strangers and Chimerica and the Singapore Grip, and I was in one or two of those things, it's like I'm watching something from the 1980s or sometime. All of those series are set in Asian countries, so our casting opportunities are all about how believably foreign we can be to the white Western gaze. Most of those series have a white male protagonist, and often the East and Southeast Asian actors playing the main East or Southeast Asian supporting roles in those big series that are set in foreign countries that get our representation statistics up are flown in from other countries where they ironically get far more opportunities and are deemed to be more authentically Chinese or Japanese or Korean or Vietnamese or Indonesian.
Snatch the pebble from my hand.
And most of the East or Southeast Asian actors in those big TV series set in foreign countries starring white male protagonists have to speak East or Southeast Asian languages.
Oh, and they want the whole thing in your language.
English.
No, they meant foreign. Any kind of Asian, basically.
And sometimes they have to learn to speak the East or Southeast Asian languages phonetically.
Won't they find out? They don't speak Chinese, I don't either. How are they going to know?
They are literally acting in languages they don't understand, or approximating what people who don't speak those languages want to hear.
Well, as you know, we're going to be following the story of the main protagonist, Shotaro Kanedi, and he's going to try and find and bring back his childhood friend, Tetsuo Shima.
Sorry, it's just pronounced Shotaro Canada and Tetsuo Shima.
On one of those series, I heard they were pulling background artists out of the scene because they were deemed to look too mixed race. One commissioning executive told me it had to be that way because drama is not a documentary. And there's no footnotes.
What do you think?
I'm not too sure.
Me neither.
Me too, actually. Why do we think that?
The acting.
No, it's not the acting.
The other night I watched The Death of Stalin on TV, and I remembered the Channel 4 drama Chernobyl, and I remembered the lavish TV adaptation of War and Peace. And all of those dramas are set in Eastern Europe, and they're all in English. And then I started thinking about East and Southeast Asian political history and famous novels and huge geopolitical incidents. And I wondered why you couldn't take some of that East and Southeast Asian history and politics and literature and dramatize it with British-based East and Southeast Asian actors in English in their own accents. After all, is Asia more foreign than Russia? Or is it all about the color of our skin? Because this would humanize people of East and Southeast Asian descent. And it would empower us to be actors rather than foreign signifiers. But then I wonder if the industry would ever accept that number of East and Southeast Asian actors from that many diverse backgrounds who had worked in the theatre and could act and portray actual three-dimensional characters rather than represent an otherness in accents we don't have or have to exaggerate in languages we don't speak. I'm wondering if the industry will recognise that tokenism is not diversity. I'm still wondering. My name's Daniel York Loh. Thank you for your time.
Hold me tight, don't ever kill my